Oh man, that's no. Caitlyn yeah, she's a beast, man. Like, and they love her. So I'll probably say Caitlyn Clark. I love Tyrese, but she's another level in terms
Yeah.
of just the love that she has.
For weeks, Caitlin Clark was getting knocked around on the court, and the WNBA, they stayed completely silent. Fans were outraged. Commentators tiptoed around the subject, but eventually the silence broke. Not from the league, but from the NBA's biggest stars. This wasn't a scripted PR move. It was raw, real, and unfiltered. Steph Curry, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and others didn't just recognize her talent. They stood up for her. They saw the targeting, the blatant fouls, and the league's inaction, and they weren't going to stay quiet. Steph Curry, in particular, had seen enough. After watching Clark take cheap shots game after game while the league looked the other way, he finally spoke out, and his words rippled through the entire basketball community. When a legend like Curry says, "Enough is enough. This can't be ignored," the world listens. And he wasn't alone. At least 6 NBA All-Stars came forward, publicly calling out what they saw as unfair treatment. Their message couldn't have been clearer. Caitlin Clark isn't some overhyped media creation. She's an elite player who deserves respect, and the targeting must end. So what exactly do they say? We're breaking down the unfiltered reactions from NBA stars who didn't hold back. And some of what they said will truly surprise you. Let's start with Pascal Siakam. Known for his smooth two-way game and championship background, no one expected him to even mention Clark. But when asked about which athletes deserve more respect, he didn't give the typical names. He brought up Caitlin Clark, not as a polite nod, but as someone, in his words, who deserves more recognition than some players in his own league.
Yeah, Caitlin's amazing. Super amazing. She's a great player. Having her, be courtside and watching our games, is awesome. We see the excitement that she has on the sides, but just like she's doing that, we do the same. Like when they're playing, like it's so much, it's a joy to watch.
Think about that for a moment. Pascal Siakam wasn't comparing Caitlin Clark to WNBA players. He put her in the same conversation as Tyrese Halliburton, his own NBA teammate and one of the league's most exciting point guards. And still, Siakam said Clark is the one receiving the most genuine admiration. That's not just high praise. That's a wake-up call. It shows that Clark's influence isn't confined to the WNBA. She's broken through the invisible wall between leagues, and NBA players are noticing. Siakam could have name-dropped any NBA star in that moment, but he chose Caitlin Clark. That wasn't some random mention. It was a cultural shift in motion. It was a sign that she's being acknowledged across the entire basketball world. And what really stands out? Siakam didn't have to say it, but he did. That speaks volumes. And he's not the only one. Obi Toppin, a player more known for his explosive dunks than viral interviews, also made headlines. He's not someone who usually grabs attention with his words, but that's exactly why his comment about Clark hit even harder. There was no media polish, no fancy delivery, just raw honesty. When Obi spoke about Caitlin, it wasn't just about her skills. It was about her presence, her impact, and the way she's shifting the game itself. His words weren't just respectful. They were full of genuine admiration for someone doing far more than just putting up numbers.
She's, I think for me, getting to actually spend time around her, be around her, get to know her personally, she's just an amazing person, an amazing player. She deals with a lot there's a lot of rhetoric behind her that she really has no control over. And I think that the way she handles that is just amazing. Like, I think when it comes to the game of basketball, like she's probably top 5 most famous people that are playing right now, just in general. That includes our league as well.
It's not the exact words that hit the hardest. It's the message behind them. Obi Toppin didn't talk about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA like they were a level below. He spoke as if they belonged shoulder to shoulder with the NBA. Not as an afterthought, not as a footnote, but as equals. The way he and other NBA players celebrate Caitlin's game is the same way they celebrate their own. And that kind of mutual respect, that's rare. It carries weight. There's something undeniably powerful about seeing Caitlin Clark courtside at an NBA game and realizing she's not just being acknowledged as a guest. She's being embraced as one of them. This isn't a celebrity's here moment. It's hoopers recognizing another hooper. Obi's comments may not have gone viral, but they didn't need to, because what he said stood for something bigger. Caitlin Clark isn't just dominating in women's basketball anymore. She's become part of basketball culture, period. She's earned that crossover. And when NBA players speak about you like you belong, like you're one of them, that's when you know you've truly arrived. And then there's Tyrese Halliburton. He had every opportunity to give a basic, safe answer. Something like, she's great. I respect her game. But he didn't. Tyrese spoke from experience, from sharing the same city, the same spotlight, from watching Caitlin rise through pressure, criticism, and chaos, and still shine. His words weren't filtered through PR teams. They were raw and personal. And that's exactly why they hit deeper than any highlight reel ever could.
That should be celebrated in his own right.
Top 5 most famous athletes in the world. That's the list Tyrese Halliburton just put Caitlin Clark on. And he wasn't joking, and he definitely wasn't doing it for attention. This wasn't about hype. This was real. An NBA All-Star placed her name alongside LeBron James, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, and he meant it. Because he's watching it unfold in real time. He sees the sold-out arenas. He hears the roar of the fans. He watches the storm of media that follows Clark everywhere she goes. And as someone who knows what it feels like to carry the weight of a franchise, Tyrese understands how immense that pressure really is. But what truly elevates his words is the compassion behind them. Tyrese isn't just giving a nod to Caitlin's talent. He's defending her as a person. He sees the backlash, the hate, the noise she never asked for. And he's using his platform to say she can handle it. Not because it's easy, but because she's built for it. And then came LeBron James. And when LeBron speaks, it doesn't just stay in the sports world, it becomes a moment. Every sentence gets dissected. Every post becomes a headline. That's the kind of influence he carries. So when he decided to speak up for Caitlin Clark, it wasn't casual. It was deliberate. It wasn't just about her game. It was about her impact. LeBron's message cut through all the noise, all the debate, and reminded everyone exactly why Caitlin Clark matters. Right now, in this moment.
We're hype about Steph and Sabrina. I know that you have spoken about Caitlin Clark. You're a big Caitlin Clark fan.
Oh, yeah.
She, of course, is an excellent shooter. Would you ever do like a Caitlin Trey 3-point contest at All-Star?
Of course I would. I've gotten to talk to her too throughout her college years. We're the only 2 people that ever led college in points and assists. That's a crazy stat. I'd have to definitely practice a lot more than I have for these previous 3-point competitions. Nah, I'd be ready for sure. I'd do it.
This wasn't just LeBron James speaking up for Caitlin Clark. It was LeBron standing up for the future of basketball. He's been in her shoes. He understands the pressure of being a generational talent, of carrying not just a team, but an entire movement. LeBron knows what it feels like to be the reason a league evolves. When the rules change, the travel improves, and the culture shifts because of you. That's not just playing basketball. That's rewriting history. And when he looked at Caitlin, he didn't just see a rising star. He saw someone walking the same path he once walked. That's not fanboy energy. That's real respect. And when it comes from LeBron, that kind of respect means everything. Then there's Trae Young, the king of deep threes and swagger. He lives for the logo he checks. So when Trae casually throws out the idea of a 3-point shootout with Caitlin Clark, you know it's not just for laughs. Sure, it's playful, but underneath the banter, there's true admiration. Trae sees her not as a WNBA player, but as a shooter. A legit one. That's not a casual compliment. That's peer-level recognition. This isn't hype anymore. This is confirmation. Caitlin Clark has officially entered the conversation alongside the league's best, and they're the ones putting her there.
You got to put it in perspective, right? These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that are offended by that.
Let's talk numbers. Only 2 players in NCAA history have ever led the nation in both scoring and assists in a single season. That's not just a fun stat. That's legendary. And when Trae Young speaks about Caitlin Clark, there's no fake hype or forced media praise. It's one elite scorer tipping his cap to another. He didn't say he'd win the shootout. In fact, he joked he needed to start getting more reps just to keep up with her. That alone speaks volumes. That's not hype. That's the highest level of respect. Because Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the basketball conversation anymore. She is the conversation. And Trae, he's either ready to share the spotlight or meet her at the 3-point line. Then there's Paul George, a guy who doesn't speak just a trend. When PG talks, it's measured and meaningful. So when he addressed Caitlin Clark, he didn't jump to applause or criticism. He stepped back and gave perspective. While so many people were focused on her highlights or the fouls she took, Paul saw beyond the surface. He wasn't just talking about stats. He was acknowledging the bigger picture, the culture shift, the impact, the storm that follows Caitlin Clark every time she steps on the court. And in a world full of noise, Paul George chose to see substance.